Hello, it's me, and in the true spirit of our modification series, just by way of introduction to see if maybe there's a mod out there that you like or are interested in or want to see how it works and are interested in my particular approach to the solution, I've got something called, I guess it's called a case cube. Now what's interesting is that it comes off with a very strange shape. I mean, it looks almost like a classic 3x3. It actually moves like one from the top side. This looks pretty standard. This is one of those puzzles where when I looked at it, at first I wasn't sure exactly how the heck it actually turns or moves. These lines didn't make a whole lot of sense except what was down here. But when you look up here, the turning is actually through here. Almost like it's through an axis. Like it's a combination of a face turner as you're turning the entire face here. And then you've got false faces here which don't turn exactly through the color, but you've got this as a face, which almost looks like it's a corner turner, but this is actually a face over here, and it turns through the top. This is a 3x3 mod, and it's solved like a 3x3, but because of the unique shape, this actually takes the mod concept into a new kind of a challenge, which we're going to get into. So what we're going to do first is, as my approach to all mods, is I'm going to see if I can get a perspective on this. Where's my centers, where's my edges, where's my corners, and then just solve it based on, Rubik's Cube type algorithms with any variations that might occur based upon the supercube strategy that emerges out of these modifications. You can get very interesting shapes with this too, so it's kind of fun to play around with. In any case, looking at this, obviously this is a center and this is a center. What about down here though? So where's the center here? We're seeing that, you get these two over here, these two over here. Some of these are a little more than just extensions that are glued on, and some of them actually move independently. Obviously this moves independently from here, and as I turn this, these guys don't move independently. So when you think about it, the actual center is here. This is the actual center. So if this is a center and this is a center, then this must be an edge. So this is an edge piece over here. In terms of what qualifies as an edge from here, understand that an edge is defined as something that joins or articulates two centers. So here's a center and here's a center. This piece here, if I were to this piece here with this little glued on extension is also an edge. So this is an edge and this is an edge, which means that on the top layer this is an edge, this is an edge, this is an edge. If you can imagine that this is a corner, this whole thing here is a corner between these three, corner and corner. So what we have is we have in the middle layer an edge that looks like the corner from the top layer. Over here we have a corner in the top layer that looks like this, which would be an edge in the middle layer. This is an edge because it's joining this middle with this middle over here, so this is an edge. So that's what's an interesting thing about this puzzle, is that we have corners that look like edges in some layers and edges that look like corners in other layers, and then we have centers that really kind of look like don't look like the centers in the top layer here. So it does lend for some interesting challenges here. So if I were to put, say, some corners up next to an edge, it'll actually look like a corner from a top layer. So see if I can get an example of that. But over here, these three together look almost like these three. So this combination of a corner and an edge looks like one corner over here. Now the solving of this is much like the supercubes that we've, or the modifications that we've been solving, but there's a little trick to the end. There's a couple of parities that you'll find that don't seem to belong with a 3x3. So, looking carefully at the structure, you're also going to find something interesting about the unique shape of this, because notice we have what appears to be a false side here and a false side here, and some of them are interchangeable. Like this and this, the blue and green are interchangeable because you can take this whole side away and transfer it over here, and you would have no way of knowing where it's supposed to be. In other words, this blue can be transferred here and this green can be transferred over to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you a little bit of the scrambling and how quickly the shape shifting really starts to force its presence upon you. So this is kind of an interesting one. And now understand, being a mod, this has the particular type of shape shifting, which is single segment rotational shape shifting, which means we maintain our face despite the fact that we're shape shifted. So corners are where corners are supposed to be, edges are where edges are supposed to be. They're just maybe not in the correct level. So if I look at this, center, edge, 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 you can see this edge is a middle edge. This would be a top, this is also a middle edge. This is a top or bottom edge, corner, which looks a lot like this edge, only you can tell it's a corner because you got the two colors here, corner, corner, corner. So I'm going to keep scrambling it until it looks hopelessly, completely messed up. Alakazam. And there we go. So, not too shabby. So we can see this is a side here, this is a middle, edge, 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 corner, corner, corner. Another side here. I think you get the picture. So, how are we going to make heads or tails out of this? Well, what I would recommend first is starting off with your first side is to be either the yellow or the white, because that's where the centers look the same. It almost looks like it's a cuboid in the solid form, but it's really not. It's a 3x3 mod with little extensions. This is an extension over here to give it that kind of ingenious shape. Now, the other difference with this solution is you have to bear in mind, when you're doing other solves, like say we were doing the solve of this guy here, I didn't really care what the overall shape looked like. As long as I can keep my head around where the sides were, the shape just kind of emerged out of it. With here, you have to have a perspective of what the overall shape is if you're going to hope to solve it. So let me show you what I mean. The first step, even negating the shape or the shape shifting or what it's supposed to look like, is here's my center, let's put in our edges. If this is my center, here's another center over here, another center over here. So I just find the edges that look like it's where it's supposed to be. The problem with that is two of my centers look exactly the same. Red center, orange center, which means that my edges look exactly the same also. So I can fit the wrong edge with the wrong center if I'm not careful. So what we want to do is we want to make our middle edge, our middle row look the way it's supposed to look. In other words, we're going to end up with a rectangular form here. So I'm going to turn this up like this. And the question is, how is the other red associated with it? Here's the other red center. Is it supposed to be faced like this? Is it supposed to be faced like this? Well, in actuality, we're trying to define a false center. So I can't face it like this, because if I do that, I'm going to turn my yellow over here. So this is going to, my orange over here, so this is going to become my false side here, but the red is going to bump up against this yellow, which means I have to hold it like this. Alright, I need to not have accidentally made this too easy for me. Because what fun is that? Okay, so let's pretend it just started like this. But anyway, so this has to be facing this because this has to be in this direction, because that way this is going to form that cuboid look, that rectangular look, where this will be the false red side. So the orange, I'm going to turn this over here and this over here. So it's important that I have that structure, because now if you kind of look at it, if you can visualize it, this is going to be that rectangular form, and now I can better decide how my cross is going to be. Now the moon is actually pretty good, but like with all modifications, with all mods, sometimes you get some snagging that happens between the different components. So over here, what I'm going to be looking for to get my top cross is I'm going to be looking for the red edge. And it's going to be looking something like this. This is the yellow edge over here. So here's a red edge. But which one does this go with? Well, because I have this set up, I can put this, I can find where it's supposed to line itself up at correctly. So wherever this goes, this has to come up on the top. And a lot of times this is done just by trial and error. So if I turn this here and move this up, I can tell that's not where it's supposed to be. Now I could make it line up with this, but it's going to end up on the bottom. In other words, if I go like this, I can say, it lines up, but I can't turn it up like this, because although that looks like it's the cross, it doesn't coincide correctly with this center. This is turned wrong, if that makes sense. So in other words, if I turn it like this, I know this is lined up correctly, this is not. This is on the wrong side over here. So this belongs over here. So I'm just going to turn this twice, move it in to line up, and turn it twice back. So I hope you caught that, but I wouldn't have any other way of knowing that this belongs here. I might have put it here, except to know that it's going to end up on the bottom here and not appropriately at the right area to make the cross at the top. Okay, so now it's just a matter of finding the other red and yellow piece, which is right over here. And I know this is supposed to come here because I've already put this one in place. So let's just line it up with here, turn this down, turn this up. This is all just positioning. Okay, so I'm getting half of my upper cross here. So now let's reconfigure our orange here. So it's supposed to look like this. As you can see, it's kind of getting my rectangular shape. So with this particular mod, I have to keep in mind what the overall shape is going to look like, or else I'm going to get messed up. So where does this one go? This is an edge. Does it belong here or does it belong here? The only way to know that is to see where does it line up to where it ends up on top. So let's just move it down from the top first and move it in like this. So does it go up to here? Does it line up here? And no, I don't think so. Okay, so it's not that one, obviously. It's going to be this one. So we'll just kind of line things up. This lines up here nicely, and bring it up. And turn it here, okay? So now we just find the other one, which is right over here. And now I'm just kind of intuitively placing things where they're supposed to be. It becomes pretty simple once you get your perspective, and that's the most challenging part. So we're kind of skipping to that part. There it is. Alright, so once I have that X-Men symbol here, then I know that I'm doing well. Then I'm doing okay. So I've got my cross. Now it's a question of putting my edges in. So I know that this is going to be the orange and yellow edge. This is the white and orange. So this is supposed to be over here. So move it down, across, and up. And move this here, here. Obviously it's not that, that's red. So this is not, once you get the perspective, this is not the horribly challenging part. And just putting my edges in, or my corners in. Alright, so that's looking good. Now I put this guy up here, turn, 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 and up. Okay, so we're good. Now I got to put these edges in over here. So which one do I do? Now notice there's a gaping hole in both. I don't have anything to guide me to tell me which one it's supposed to be. Is it green? Is it blue? Let's do the green. It's right here already. So we'll come down here. And it takes a little practice getting the movement just right. Move it up, turn, 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 and up. So that looks pretty good. Here's the green here. And now I'll put the blue one in. This is the middle blue, so this here is actually an edge masquerading as a corner. This is a corner masquerading as an edge in the second layer. So let's move this one in, turn, turn. Now let's do this right. Turn, turn, and up. Okay, so we appear to have the first layer. First layer is done. So now we just do the middle layer, which is all edges at this point. So hold it here. This edge, which is masquerading as a corner, this is actually a middle edge, needs to come down to here, so that's where we're going to put it. So turn, 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 turn. Now I want you to pay very close attention to what I've been doing from beginning to end, because there's going to be a little quiz associated with this. Alright, so this edge, we're going to find the blue, which is right here. Turn, 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 and down. So we're doing well. Now we just have to put the red one in, so let's find the red one, and here that is over here. Okay, now next we have just the red one left, so we're going to put this one in here. Turn, 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 and turn. Okay, so basically once we've done that, we're going to have to put the edges back in place. So we have to flip them in the right order. So we're going to see if we can't find, which one is turned upside down and which one is turned right side up. So this is obviously turned right side up. This is turned right side up. This is turned right side up, and uh-oh, look at that. That's kind of strange. Basically, we have an interesting parity going on. So the problem with what I have right now, and bear in mind this is a 3x3 mod. This is not a 4x4 mod. We have 3 edges flipped appropriately and 1 edge that's flipped inappropriately. Just so that you can visualize that, if these were all flipped right, and I didn't have to do the FRU, FIRI, UI, which I didn't happen to have to do in this particular case, and I wanted to get my cross here, this is right, so maybe I'll move this over here, and go like boom, 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 bang, 1, 2, pow. Okay, so this is in, this is in, this is in, and this is up. Don't let this fool you. This is actually an edge, but this is up. So why is that? How could that be? So this is parity dilemma number 1. Parity dilemma number 1 basically is an edge parity. But you're not supposed to get an edge parity with a 3x3. This is what you get with a 4x4, because with a 4x4, when you did edge pairing, if you had this, you do the Red Bull algorithm in order to flip it back down. So the question is, why did this happen? Why do I have 3 down and 1 up? And how do I get out of this? Well, I'm going to let you figure that out. I'm going to let you figure out why that is. I mean, this looks a little too symmetric here, so it's hard to visualize. So see if you can figure out why this edge is flipped up and why we have this kind of a parity despite the fact that we have a 3x3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of that parity now, and I'll tell you that it's not any new algorithm than anything that I've ever gone over with any other tutorials that I've done and any other 3x3. So I'm going to get out of that parity right now and kind of pay close attention to what I'm doing and see if you can figure out what parity number 1 is due to. Okay, now this looks a little bit better, doesn't it? I have 2 out and 2 right and 2 right and 2 wrong. So 2 needs to be flipped, so this is like an L formation. Now how did I do that and why did that happen? So that's parity algorithm number 1. But in the meantime, we'll kind of get through this. This is lined up where it's supposed to be. This is actually lined up where it's supposed to be. So this is my L formation, so it's F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. So now we have our line, F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. And so everything is flipped up and everything worked just fine. So this is where it's supposed to be. None of these guys are, so I'm just going to continue with my Rubik's Cube strategy, holding it here, doing my R, U, R-I, U, R, 2U, R-I. This is right, this is right, this is right, this is right. So we're all good. Now all we have to do is the corners. So which one is in? This isn't where it's supposed to be, this isn't, and this isn't. So we'll just go ahead and do our corner swapping algorithm, which is going to be U, R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. So this is where it's supposed to be, this is not, and uh-oh, oh no, we have another parity. We have a corner parity now. Not only did we have to deal with a potential edge parity, we also have a corner parity. We have basically this is where it's supposed to be, this is where it's supposed to be, and these two are not. So we've encountered this before actually. We've encountered this kind of parity with well, mostly with 4x4s, when the center is not quite where it's supposed to be. Occasionally we'll see that with 3x3s if we have kind of malalignments with the centers. So why did this happen? How did this occur? So pay very close attention to what this puzzle looks like. Whoops. And see if once again you can tell me exactly why we got a parity with the corners and how did this happen and how I'm going to get out of it. So for this one, I am not going to show how I did it because that's something that you could notice. So think about what it is. Write a comment as to how both parities number 1 and number 2 happen. Recall that number 1 had 3 edges down and 1 edge up. This one has a corner parity that you can see over here. So how are we going to fix that? Think about it. Let me know what you think, and I'll come back with the answer later.